All right, let's get right into it. In the world of AI, we've got a classic underdog story playing out right now. A real David versus Goliath situation.
For the longest time, the thinking in AI has been pretty straightforward. Bigger is always better. More data, more parameters, more raw computing power. That was seen as the only way to get smarter AI.
But what if I told you that's all starting to change? We're looking at a fascinating new challenger that's proving size isn't everything. In fact, the future of really powerful AI, well, it might just fit in the palm of your hand. Now, to really appreciate why this is such a huge deal, we first have to talk about the reigning champs, the AI giants. These are the massive, power-hungry models that have been dominating the headlines for years. This lays out the battle lines perfectly. On one side, you've got the Goliaths. They live in the cloud, they're super expensive to run, and honestly, they're just not practical for a lot of everyday things. But on the other side, we have these new Davids. They're compact, they're efficient, and, this is the key, they can run right on your phone, completely offline. This isn't just a small change. It's a huge shift in who gets to use top-tier AI. So who is this David in our story? Well, let's meet the challenger. It's a specialized translation model from Tencent called HY-MT1.5. And let me tell you, it is punching way, way above its weight class. First off, let's talk size. This model has just 1.8 billion parameters. Now, to put that into perspective, a lot of the big-name giants have hundreds of billions of parameters. This is literally a featherweight stepping into the ring with a heavyweight. And here's where that hits home for you and me. After it's been optimized, it takes up only about 1 gigabyte of memory. That's it. That's small enough to live right on your smartphone. No problem. AI is actually leaving the cloud and moving into your pocket. And it's fast. I mean, unbelievably fast. We're talking an average response time of just 0.18 seconds for translation. That's often way faster than the major commercial services you might be using right now. For things like real-time subtitles, that kind of speed is an absolute game changer. So, the big question is, how on earth does a model this tiny get so good? Well, the secret isn't in its size, it's in how it's trained. It goes through this incredibly sophisticated process that forges it into a true specialist. See, it's not a simple one-and-done training session. This thing goes through a whole 5-stage gauntlet. It starts with pre-training to get a broad language base. Then it's fine-tuned specifically for translation. Then it's refined using reinforcement learning. But the really cool part is stage 4, which we'll get to in a sec, before it goes through one last round of optimization. This technique right here, on-policy distillation, this is the secret weapon. The best way to think about it is like a master artisan teaching an apprentice. There's a bigger, 7 billion parameter teacher model that doesn't just give the little 1.8B student model the right answers. No, it gives real-time feedback, correcting the student's process as it works. It's how the smaller model learns the complex reasoning of its much bigger sibling. And the training gets judged with incredible nuance. Instead of a simple right or wrong, an AI evaluator scores the translations just like a human would, across 5 different dimensions. It's not just about being accurate, it's about being fluent, culturally appropriate, and easy to read. This is how you train for real quality, not just correctness. Okay, so the training is brilliant, but does it actually work in practice? Well, let's get to the main event, the showdown. Let's look at the data where the small model goes head-to-head with the industry's giants. First up, we have the FLUX.2-dev benchmark, which is this massive test across hundreds of languages. Now look at this. Our little 1.8 billion parameter model is achieving over 90% of the performance of the giant Gemini Pro. And look further down the list, it's absolutely crushing much larger models like the 32 billion parameter Qwen and the 72 billion parameter Tower Plus. Incredible. But this is the real shocker. On the WMT25 benchmark, which is known for focusing on professional-grade translation, the 7 billion parameter teacher model actually beats Google's Gemini Pro. It surpasses it. And our little 1.8 billion model is right there in the mix, totally holding its own. This isn't just a win, it's a major statement. So what does all this really mean for us? I mean, impressive numbers on a chart are one thing, but this stuff translates directly into real-world benefits. We're not talking about some research project here. This tech is already out in the wild, being used in apps with tons of traffic. Think real-time subtitles in video calls, instant translation in your messaging apps, and yeah, even high-quality offline translation for when you're traveling and don't have a signal. Its efficiency means it's stable and useful in the real world, right now. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The developer community is buzzing. This quote from a Reddit user just sums it up perfectly. For such small size, it is just awesome. I love it. Getting this kind of performance from a model this small is, frankly, a huge deal.
All of this really leads us to a pretty fundamental question, a rethinking of how we even approach AI development. It really feels like we're stepping into a new era.
It really forces us to ask, have we been wrong this whole time? Is this relentless chase for bigger and bigger models the wrong goal? And the answer really comes down to this. It's not that bigger is bad. It's that specialization is just incredibly powerful. Think about it. The general-purpose models are jacks of all trades. But HY-MT1.5 is a master of one. Its entire being is tailored for a single purpose: high-fidelity translation. And in its own domain, that sharp focus lets it reign supreme. Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. Maybe the true future of AI isn't one single giant brain in the cloud. Maybe it's a whole ecosystem of smaller, super efficient specialists that live right on our devices, ready to help us out at a moment's notice. What do you think?